My name is Cynthia, and this is how the church abandoned me when I needed them the most. Growing up in a family that was deep-rooted in Christ, you dare not skip morning devotion or eat a meal without saying your prayers. The house would be hot that day. My father kissed the dust on my 10th birthday. I remember how hurt my mother was and how it took a while before she was able to be strong for us. She found Christ and poured all her energy into loving him and the church. We were always the first to be in church on Sundays and every weekly programs. Even if you were sick, you would attend church because going to church will heal you, as my mother fondly said. My mother made sure we were all workers in church and helped out in every way she could, both financially and 100% service. There was something I noticed from the church from a young age. The treatment we got was quite different from the ones families from wealthier homes got. My mother was looked down on by most women and ministers in the church. I was often rudely spoken to. I began to notice how we were treated like plagues, while the wealthier ones, who didn't even come for weekly cleanings, were treated and loved better than us. Anytime I tried to complain to my mom, she would shun me, telling me not to say something that would anger God. The preferential treatment was so obvious that even the rich kids in church talked down on us times without number. If you wanted to get on the pastor's good book, just park a car outside on Sunday. It doesn't matter what type of car, just let it have 4 tires. One day, my mother fell sick and had to be rushed to the hospital. She had developed a certain bacteria and needed to be on medications immediately. The hospital didn't have the medication and we had to go to a specific pharmacy to get the medication. The medication cost a sum of 250,000 naira and we didn't have that kind of money anywhere. We ran to the only place we knew we could seek help, the church. And the pastor came up with one excuse or the other why they couldn't render help at this time. I was dumbfounded. This was the church my mother had given her all to, and now when she needed their help for survival, they weren't willing to help. I couldn't even be angry at that point because I had no time for that. I needed to find a way to get the money and save my mom's life. At the end of the day, there was no one to help. I cried throughout the night for the fear of what was going to happen to my mother. My siblings and I prayed and prayed that night. Early in the morning, I rushed to the hospital to see how my mother was faring before we found a means to get the medication again. On getting to my mother's room, she wasn't there anymore. My heart skipped a beat, but I calmed myself down. I could be overthinking. I dragged a nurse passing by and asked her where my mother was. She told me that the bacteria had eaten deep into my mother, and last night she gave up. The next thing I heard was the nurse screaming before everything went black. When I woke up, my last memories haunted me. I screamed and cried and cried. It took a handful of nurses to calm me down. I had become an orphan. When the news of my mother's death spread, the church came, including the wicked pastor who refused to offer any help. I couldn't hide my contempt. It was written all over my face and eyes. He was uncomfortable and shortly left. As the firstborn, the responsibility of my siblings rested on my shoulder. I had to do menial jobs to fend for my family. My siblings and I stopped attending church completely. I couldn't stand the fakeness they exhibited. Things were tough when my mother was alive, but now things were extremely tough. We were going through literal hell. After 1 year of full-blown sufferings, all my siblings and I had emaciated. Our family members couldn't assist. Everyone abandoned us, including the so-called church. One fateful day, I came across a video of a lady telling people how she works with a company and makes massive amounts of money with her phone. She talked about how you don't need to refer a single person before you get paid. She also talked about how her students make up to 400,000 naira monthly and even some daily. I thought about how far 400,000 naira right now would go in our lives. I didn't even think too much about it. I didn't care if it was a scam or not. I was ready to risk it all because I had to do something about our situation before it got out of hand. I registered for the company, went through a few training videos that showed me how to immediately get started with the business. I poured my concentration and 100% energy into the business and said I must make it work. And in 2 weeks' time, I made 500,000 naira in 1 day. At first, it felt too good to be true until the money was sent into my bank account. I nearly fainted. 500k? Me? Jesus, why didn't I know about this business before my mother died? I kept crying tears of joy and of pain for my mother's death that could have been avoided. I poured my all into this business like a mad person. I knew I could do it. I knew I had all it takes. Both God and the universe would definitely see me through. Well, as of the time of me narrating this story, All my siblings are studying abroad. I own 3 houses in Lagos, 2 in America, and different properties in Lagos. My car toys varies from the G-Wagon to a Range Rover and to the latest GLE Benz. My walk-in closet seems like something out of a movie. My house, well, let's just say no one enters without gasping. All of these were possible because I utilized the power of my phone and changed the course of my life. I hold no grudges anymore against Christians or the church. As a matter of fact, I'm engaged to a wealthy pastor and our wedding is next month. I realized that I shouldn't use the action of one to judge all. No matter where you are in life, the moment you decide to get up and say enough is enough, the universe begins to reciprocate. It's the law of attraction and it always works.
My ladies, you can make crazy amounts of money for yourself without needing a man. Now, I'm not talking about 10,000 naira daily. We are talking about 90,000 naira daily, 300,000 naira weekly, and 1 million naira monthly. All these receipts that are being shown here are my receipts. My name is boldly written there. Onyx Akachi Emetuche. And this is the amount of money I make for myself using my smartphone. Early this year, I couldn't even boast of having 300,000 naira in my account. And now this is what I make weekly. Something that you can do for yourself as well. And very easily at that. I teach young girls like myself how to utilize this opportunity as well. You can stop asking that man for money and losing your dignity in the process. Making money eliminates a lot of disrespect. That I can tell you for sure. As someone who has once been in a place of massive need, I understand how it can be. That is why I have decided to educate girlies on how they can do this business. But if you know you do not like making money, you can drop and pass because this is definitely not for you. But if you know you want to leave that place of want and lack, click on the link in my bio and I'll teach you in my masterclass how not to depend on a man and get that bag, girl.